Did you know that if you were in Saudi Arabia, hey everybody, we're making a video about Islam, okay? We're going to call it out here because when they do stupid, we're going to talk about it. You know, just like we do with the Christians in this country. Despotic Saudi Arabia bans laughter. This comes from the progressive secular humanist at pathos.com. In Saudi Arabia, you can now be jailed for 5 years for posting online satire. Oh, really? Can you now? Oh, that's sarcasm. That's not. Never mind.
Right. Yeah, satire is particular, like targeting a particular idea and therefore making it humanizing while revealing the thing.
Right.
The thing about satire is it's really hard to identify. That's why I'm freaked out by this.
For a specific audience, for some portions of an audience, it is hard to differentiate between satire and truth, which is why you suddenly have so many in the alt-right doing this.
Satire.
Which is why The Onion has lost a lot of money in the last couple of years because they can't possibly write headlines to battle with reality. You know?
The reality is crazier. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
We're fine. Yeah. Everything's fine here.
Everything's fine.
It's great. Everything's fine here.
So in the article, it says here, the deranged... God damn it, Han Solo joke there. The deranged desert kingdom is now attacking basic human rights again in a desperate attempt to prevent any political dissent. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the brutal and despotic dictator running Saudi Arabia currently, will now punish those responsible for humorous posts on social media that, quote, affects public order, religious values, and public morals. And they didn't use an Oxford comma on this, fuck you. With a 5-year prison term and a fine of 3 million rials, which is $800,000.
Oh,
France 24 reports that Saudi Arabia will punish online satire that disrupts public order with 5 years in prison. The public prosecutor said Tuesday as the kingdom cracks down on dissent, producing and distributing content that ridicules, mocks, provokes, and disrupts public order, religious values, and public morals through social media will be considered a cybercrime, punishable by 5 years and all the money there. So commenting on the story via Twitter, Mohammed Syed, the president of ex-Muslims of North America and a human rights activist, said, there was never such a statute against blasphemy, against argument, against free speech that did not stain the book that it was in and did not certify to the savagery of the men who passed it. So he used a Robert G. Ingersoll quote there in his tweet that he said. So make no mistake, Saudi Arabia's human rights record is appalling. In fact, every decent country and every decent human being is morally obligated to speak out against the draconian, inhumane policies of the barbaric and brutal kingdom. The Saudi Arabian kingdom is a brutal regime that gives out the death penalty for being gay, denies women the most basic human rights, and commits many other despicable acts on human rights abuses. So women are second-class citizens.
But they're our ally, though.
Right. So can we call him a snowflake? Like he literally had to make a law telling people not to make fun of him.
I bet Don Trump would love to have that kind of law in this country. He's talking about changing the libel laws.
Yeah.
He would love that.
So in Saudi Arabia, there's no political freedom, no religious freedom, no freedom of speech, and in fact, one of the most repressive regimes in recent history and an affront to human rights and human dignity. Saudi Arabia does not have a written constitution or an elected legislative body. There are no elections of any kind. All political parties are banned, as are most forms of association. All critical political expression is forbidden. The press is strictly regulated, and assembly is severely restricted. The bottom line here in the article, it says, Saudi Arabia is a backward and brutal theocracy that should be condemned and shunned by all decent people and all decent countries. Right. But we won't, because we love them for their oil, and we love them for their money.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a problem with the monarchy. That's why they're not really around much anymore.
No. And it ends the article here with a quote by Amanda Marcotte that says, religion is an idea. And, as an idea, it should be eligible for criticism, discussion, and yes, mockery.
I'm sorry. I don't feel like this is Islam itself. I mean, yeah,
I mean, not really.
Obviously,
they happen to be. They
use
Muslim.
Islam
they happen
to
to be
get
Islamic.
to the...
Yeah, but like, I'm sorry, I'm not seeing how this isn't Islam so much as it is authoritarianism.
It is,
which uses whichever means it can to.
And in these countries, it just happens to fall into the form of, Islamic extremism.
Yeah, but in our country, the right wing, which holds all the power despite losing popular elections, both for Senate, for representative, for president, they've been losing popular vote, but they keep winning because, God damn it, the system really favors the right wing.
Right,
system really favors the right wing, and it was designed that way. It was designed to favor the privileged. It was so, but like we see these things happen, and then they utilize Christianity. They're not whatever like interpretation of Christianity you can, whatever interpretation of Islam. I mean, there were people, Muslims, centuries ago. They were the center of knowledge. They were center of wisdom and growth and free thinking. The Islamic world was the center of free thinking. But the thing about authoritarianism is that it doesn't really give a shit what it utilizes. And I have a hard time believing that it's the religion that causes this. Certainly it fuels it. Certainly it's indicative of it. But
right,
the thing is that
the religion is being used as a tool of oppression. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, Islam's basically going through their version of the Dark Ages that Christianity went through, and you saw the same kind of thing with authoritarian monarchs who just happened to use Christianity instead of Islam.
But now it's capitalism too.
Nobody expected the Spanish Inquisition. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
So now we just have authoritarianism. It's just authoritarianism. It's just tamping down criticism and free speech. I mean, even our libel laws in this day and age favor the wealthy and the ones who have the access to protect themselves. What you think I can defend myself against a libel suit?
Right.
So it's
just different versions of the same historical story and cycle repeating itself. Yeah.
And we'll finish it off here. So what I'm hearing, besides we need socialized medicine, we also need socialized litigation. That'd be great.
Oh, we need to change our litigation law.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. No, I have whole rants about that too. But like, my point is that like, so what they're doing here is they're tamping down criticism, as every authoritarian regime does. Jesus, I didn't know he jumped up there. They're just tamping down criticism, as every authoritarian regime does, and they need to quash. So when people say speech doesn't matter, it does. It does. It does all the time. This is why. I mean, this is why Nazis utilize Hollywood for their best propaganda.
So what this is going to do, and this is just going to add to the powder keg that is Saudi Arabia, because eventually people are going to get to a point where they're not going to take this shit anymore.
Yeah.
Rise up and seize the means of production.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the French figured this out like 250 years ago.
Yeah, and so they'll eventually reach their point where they're like, "Huh, I'm tired of being ruled by these people. I really wish I had representation in my government. Wouldn't that be something?" Anyway, so
use the means of production.
Just stay the fuck out of Saudi Arabia. I mean, honestly, I have no reason to go. Well, okay, none of us can go there because we're atheists, and that means we would already be charged with a crime by going into the country.
We're white.
I don't mean shit.
Oh, it does there.
Not in their country. Hell no.
If you have enough money, yeah, it does.
They care about money. They don't give a shit about.
Well, I mean, we have money, but we don't have like Saudi money.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Or a giant glowing globe that you're going to have the president and other people touch for some weird fucking reason.
Well, wait, are you telling me you don't have one of those in your living room? I thought everybody had one.
Oh, but mine goes through satanic magic. Like.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, it's entirely different.